You're listening to the Faith Breathe Hope podcast, episode number 65. Today I am back with health and wellness expert Kristen Owens for the second interview in our series. Listen as we discuss taking care of the health and wellness of our children. Welcome to the Faith Breathed Hope podcast, where we gain inspiration and motivation from others who share their touching stories of renewing hope and discovering purpose in any circumstance. I'm your host, Christina Reisinger, and today we will be encouraged by another tremendously inspirational topic that will embolden you to release fear, begin taking small steps forward, and move into your God-given purpose to live and serve in this life. Join me for today's story. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Faith Breathed Hope. Thank you, Kristen, for being here with us one more time, talking about health systems and how we can balance those systems in our body through nutrition. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here for the third time. This is awesome.
Yeah. Well, health and nutrition is not my job, not my shoot. I don't know. Hold on a second. There we go. Health and wellness has always been something of great interest to me. So I, as a single person, as a single adult, now having a family and being a mom, super interested in being able to not only be healthy myself, my husband, all of us, our parents as they age, as we age, and then our children too. So, today we're just going to try to wrap some things up and talk about total nutrition, but finding that balance that our bodies need so that we're not just aging and we're not just going through life, but we're able to enjoy a good quality of life and help our families do the same.
Balance is the key, right? Everything, it's not about, with anything, it's not about being so far over here or so far over here. It's about finding that balance, right? And so our bodies were created to find homeostasis or find balance. And so every single day, your body, my body, those listening, your body is trying to find that balance. The problem is that, we talked about stress the first episode. That's happening, right? That's a big factor. A lot of the reasons why they say 70%, I would probably say it's more at this point, of the reason why people go to the doctors is because the symptoms that are taking them there is related to stress. So this is where, and that's throwing our body out of balance. So we all have bodies, we have body systems, and those like the digestive system, the immune system, the cardiovascular system, they all work together in the body. They don't work independently of one another. The organs that make up the digestive system, for example, or the immune system, they all work together. So when one organ is off, we don't just remove the organ and be like, okay, we move it, everything's good. Well, it's not good, because the whole system or community or society or whatever you want to call it is like in disarray. It has no idea what's going on. So we have to understand we have weak links in the body, and we have to focus on finding balance within there. So when we talk about, say, immunity, this is definitely the season, being in the season we're in, immune system is something that usually this is the time of year people are looking at how we can improve our immune system so it works better. We want to keep it in balance. We don't want to, do we want to boost or strengthen it? I like to use balance. We want to find balance, and there's ways that we can do that. One of them is managing our stress. Hands down, 100%. And of course, there's tools that we can do that, essential oils, breathing. We didn't even get into that the last time, but breathing, what we're feeding our body, right? The micronutrition that we tapped on the last one as well is, are we getting the nutrition that we need? So understand your body was created to heal itself. There is nothing, if anyone tells you take this, it will heal you. Take that, it will heal you. It's not going to heal you. Your body can heal itself, but we have to give our body what our body's not getting, like micronutrition, for example. And then, because remember, we have to feed at the deepest layer, and our body uses that micronutrition at the deepest layer to, when your cells die and regenerate, to regenerate them back into healthy cells. Okay. And to feed the immune system to recognize friend from foe. Okay. So we have an immune system that hopefully knows the difference. So we all have cancer cells in our body, right? So we have cancer cells that are really tiny and our immune system keeps them in check. Everything's cool. The problem is that when our immune system doesn't say we're eating too much of, it's not just about food. There's many, many factors when it comes to this. But when our immune system cannot recognize healthy cell from unhealthy cell, virus, bacteria, if it can't recognize it, then what happens is it takes over, right? So not only do we need to make sure our immune system is working well right now in the season that we want to keep our immune system strong, but all year round, because this is where our immune conditions come in and play a factor when our immune system starts attacking itself. So just know that your body has ability to heal. Nothing heals you. Your body heals itself. So if you give your body what it needs, and if you make sure that you are removing what could be causing inflammation or blockages or a toxic overload, like the chemicals in our environment or what we're putting on our body, or toxic, here, then it's going to feed us more of what we don't want. So it takes us in a direction that we don't want. Mm-hmm. So that's where it's really important to just make sure we recognize, okay, how my body heals. We heal in layers. And I just need to make sure right now where I'm at, to keep it super simple, is what am I feeding? Because I'm a nutritionist, what am I feeding my body to help my immune system stay balanced and be able to fight for me, because it's my army. And that's where micronutrition comes in.
One thing that we always talk about on this podcast, this is a Christian podcast. And so I want to just jump in here and say, God is so good. He has designed our bodies. Hang on a second. Excuse me. So one of the things that I wanted to just mention is that God is so good. He has given us, like you said, the way for our bodies to rejuvenate themselves, to heal themselves. And, he has created us with such an amazing machine. Our bodies are machines. They know what to do. Now, I'm not, taking away from anybody who has any sickness in their body. And, God says that by his stripes we are healed. And that can be a really difficult piece of scripture to think about if you are in a place of sickness. But what I do want to say is that he has designed our bodies to do this naturally. But the piece to that, if your body is not working on healing itself right at this moment, is that he gives us that peace that surpasses all understanding. So he gives you that healing in your mind, in your soul. But he is the source of everything. And he gives us these resources. He gives us the resources such as nutrition and water, and the ability to sleep and the ability to rejuvenate while we're sleeping. He gives us all of the products even that are out on the market now. He has given us all of everything that is natural. Everything that we wake up and look outside and see can be used to benefit. Now, a lot of times things are added. So when we add things, we can create toxins and things that are not good for our body, but we have to be super careful to really research and learn what is good for our bodies. But he has given us resources so that we can help heal ourselves, or I'm sorry, you said not heal, but help balance, find that balance, allow our bodies to heal themselves. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Okay, I said
Absolutely.
it right.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, you did.
um, so when we talk about the nutrition, why do you think it is so difficult for people um, to really just hone in on what is good? I mean, like we had said, I think last time was that there's so many schools of thought on what is good for your body and what is not good for your body. Do we exercise this way or do we exercise that way? Do we eat this or do we eat that? Do we abstain from this or do we abstain for that? Should we have 8 glasses of water or 10? I mean, how do we know with all of everybody's opinions and research and expertise out there?
Yeah. I mean, that's a good question. And for me personally, what I would say is, as I always say, it's getting back to the basics. Like, I mean, I say to women a lot is we need to listen to our body. But the fact is some people just don't know what that is or how to do that. They're like, I don't know how to listen to my body. And it's like, well, okay, well, when you eat this, how does it make you feel? Right. So that's why I just go back to learning. If you're not sure, like, if a woman is looking to lose weight, for example, or release weight, it's about, you can go on a diet, which of course, the first 3 letters of the word diet is die. Right there. It's not a lifestyle. We need to look at how can we create a lifestyle of what we're doing. So I said to one lady that I was managing this program at an insurance company, and I managed the wellness program. I had employees coming in, and so this one woman was saying how she's doing keto, and I said to her, if that's what you feel is your next step, that's great, because she wanted quick results, and you have to be careful if you're looking for quick results. Likely there's no lifestyle piece in there, and it's going to be very hard for you to maintain as a lifestyle. And you're going to get frustrated in yourself. And then guess what's going to happen? You're going to fall off. It's not working. It was working, and then it's not working. And then you're on to the next thing. And this is what I see all of the time. So if you don't know how to listen to your body yet, it's going back to the basics. And again, honestly, for me personally, I just believe it is not all of these other diets or programs out there. Just look at it as, okay, what will be a lifestyle? And your body knows. I use weight loss as an example right now, but your body knows what weight it needs to be. And if you're not getting the results, it's likely, going back to healing again and balancing, it's likely because your body, when you have a dis-ease, when you're in a dis-ease state, your body's out of balance. And there's things going on in your body that state has taken a long time for it to develop. When you're diagnosed with something, it's not overnight, it's a long time. So when women come to me for weight loss, I help them to understand that just because you're not seeing the quick results, it's because probably there's other things going on in your body right now. Your goal is weight loss, but your body's like, you know what? Weight loss is like not even the closest thing to what I need to focus on. The weight is there because we've got all of these deeper issues. Here's weight, and your issues are here, and you don't even have a clue. And your body's intelligent. It's like, no. We need to focus on this, and weight will come afterwards. You could be holding emotional baggage. Emotions play a huge part. You can be holding on to so much. And so this is where I encourage you listening that we go back to lifestyle, learn about food, learn about the basics, learn about how you can just feed your body properly and the best way. And then down the road, this is where women in my community, where they have experienced that they've done this and they're like, wow, this lifestyle thing works. I don't want to get into a diet again because the diets aren't working, right? So that would be my answer. And everyone has a different answer, but I have found in all the years that I've worked in this industry is if you go back to lifestyle and we start to look at our self-love and being a good steward of our health and our body. And what happens is your mindset shifts, and it's not so much a focus. And I'm just using, I don't know why right now, but weight loss was what comes up. And that must be, somebody must be listening to this that needs this right now, is that main focus starts to become smaller and smaller. It's like that big mountain. You have this big mountain in front of you and you're like, I can't even get past this mountain. The mountain becomes smaller because now you've started to focus on something different, and your mindset changes around how you see your health and how you see your body, and understanding that weight is a symptom just like any other symptom in your body. Your body is screaming for you to get to the deeper root cause of why that issue is there. That was, I was not planning on saying all of that. That came out for a reason, because someone needed to hear that. So, because I did not plan on talking about weight loss, that's for sure. But it is a thing that a lot of people deal with. And I believe the weight loss industry will continue to be a huge industry, a multi-million-dollar industry. It's never going to go away until we start teaching people how to manage their emotions, teaching people how to shed toxic layers, teaching people about mindset, teaching people how to eat properly. It's never going to go away, because most of us humans want quick fixes, just what's going to work, right? And it's not going to make you happy in the long run. Right. Those of you listening will probably agree with me.
Well, we live in this fast-paced society where everything is fast food, supersize, get it quick, hustle and bustle. We get television without commercials. We get food, when we sit in a line for 10 minutes, we say it's too slow. Everything is just right at our feet. If you have the money, you can get it. And so, and then we get impatient when it doesn't come right away. The internet's too slow. We get aggravated, because we have things to do. We've got to go. And, we wake up in the morning, we go to work or do whatever we got to do. We take the kids to school. We come home, we go to ball practice or dance for us, then you're out all night doing all the things, and you get in and you quickly eat something and you go to bed and you do it all over again the next day. And so I love this whole idea that you've said, I think on all 3 episodes that we've done, is this back to the basics thing. And I mentioned on the last episode when we were talking about the kids that, my husband and I have had conversations about doing these things, this simplicity, this ease, and I've heard people talk about it in business many times, this idea of KISS, keep it simple, stupid, or, you can apply that to everything. You can apply it to your business. You can apply it to your finances. You can apply it to your food and nutrition and that kind of thing. And like I said, my husband and I had talked about this, and it makes me think about it. And, don't quote me on this. There's somebody out there that I know knows a lot more than I do on this, but this idea of the blue zones, so that I had read about several years back, where, you work the land and you do what is natural to that season. And, everything is organic because you're doing that movement to work it. And it all just comes together. And so I know that for us, we would love to get back to that. We would love to almost withdraw from the fast pace of society and, not care what anybody says about how, you may be a little bit more primitive, but go back to the basics, go back to being simple and doing things with ease, and not have to worry about all the stress that comes with the hustle and bustle. And, be able to get, asleep. People used to go to bed when it got dark, and they got up when it was light, and they ate whatever the land produced during that season. And, my husband talks about that often. He's like, we shouldn't have the food, that's brought in from far, far away in the season that it's not meant to be, because then things have to be added to it, and it creates, problems in our body. And then, we exercise during the day, we move and, we work the land, so to speak, and now most people don't do that. Even when they have the availability to move, even they're sitting at home because they're so tired from all of whatever they've done during the day, that they just have to decompress and they just want to plop in front of the television or whatever, or go, So anyways, I love this idea of getting back to the basics. I think it's so very important and probably needed, and would give us a great space of rest, and God talks about resting a lot. Now he says we're supposed to rest in him, where we go to him and we say, hey, I'm tired of this hustle and bustle, Lord. I need you to take it. And so I just want to encourage you. And I know you're the one that is teaching on this, but I want to encourage the listeners right now that if you're in a space to where you feel like you're just overwhelmed with all of the things, whether it is that you just want to get back to a better health, feeling better in your body. Maybe you do want to lose weight, like you were talking about earlier, but maybe it's not about that. Maybe it's about just wanting to feel healthy, to feel energized, to feel joy. God will give you rest. You throw all these things down at his feet and he's going to let you know what you need to do. He's going to say, hey, I can handle it, because he's God. He is the author of the universe. He can handle my junk and your junk and everybody else.
Too, Amen. Amen. Yes, absolutely.
So I just did want to throw that in. And I remember in the first episode that we did, when we talked about moms, we were, talking a little bit about how to get started with that. And you had mentioned the first piece to it was recognition. We've talked about making that choice. We've talked about surrounding ourselves with other people who have like minds. Talked about learning to teach our children so that we can form that foundation that they can come up ahead of the game, so to speak. You have any other things that you want to throw in there? I mean, we're talking about micronutrition. What else can we do?
So I think that, when we're talking specifically, allowing our bodies to be in that state of healing and allowing our immune systems to work as best as they can. Like I said, as we said, is the managing stress, is also looking at, we could talk a whole episode on this, but also is managing our sleep, right? Sleep is everything. You're not healing if you're not sleeping. We look at, when we talked about the water and the movement, we talk about sunlight. I'm just thinking of the kind of the lifestyle package is, even getting outside, like especially in November here in Toronto, it's not ever sunny. And it's like when you wake up and it doesn't matter if it's sunny or not, you want to go outside. Like how many of us have felt yucky at home? Like we need more energy. You go outside in the fresh air and you get energy, right? Our bodies are meant for that, right? And again, the mindset piece is making sure that we are putting the word in to feed our spirits, but also making sure that what are you focusing on? Where are your thoughts? Because where your thoughts are, is it focusing on what's not happening? And I can speak a lot on this one because this is one of the things God told me. Oh my gosh, I don't even remember what year it is, but I'll say 3 years ago. I'm going to say that, but it was at praise and worship at church. We were singing, we just sang it on Sunday too. It's a song that is, basically the chorus is, oh my gosh, the chorus is, basically about what can't he do? Or who can stop? Who can stop? I'm not going to sing it because I can't even remember the tune of it, but who can stop the Lord Almighty? Who can stop the Lord Almighty? And it keeps going, who can stop the Lord Almighty? So I remember, yes, I'm in praise and I'm singing that. And I'm like, yeah, who can stop the Lord Almighty? And what Holy Spirit said to me was, you can, you're stopping me. And I realized at that time, and of course it's always about business stuff for me because that's where growth happens. But it's really about the things that we're looking to improve. That's where growth happens. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm stopping you. And guess how I was stopping him? By here. So that's a big piece is what you're believing. So, and then of course, the big thing is making sure that our body is not deficient. right? I can't tell you how many people I do testing, or I can do it now virtually, but I was in my office. I would actually have clients come in for the last 14 years and I could test them on foods, on hormones, on vitamins, minerals, to find out what's actually, not blood tests, but find out what's happening in their body. And I can't tell you how many people were deficient in minerals, big time minerals, vitamins, this sort of thing. So deficiencies. And again, going back to that whole, talk around, making sure that we are filling the gaps, because it will all come back down to at a cellular level. What are we getting? What are we not getting? Because your body heals. When we're talking about immune system, our body heals at a cellular level. And so that just kind of brings me up again to, because Christine, I want you to share, because I think this is something that women listening, men too, if you're listening, but we attract a lot of women, and women tend to be kind of like the housekeeper in terms of like what do they call it? The gatekeeper, right? It usually starts with the mom, and then it floods through to the rest of the house. And so this is where, in the past 13 years, really, I've taken a passion to helping families be able to fill the gaps with micronutrition, not supplementation. There's a difference between supplementation and micronutrition, and coming from whole food. Your body recognizes whole food. Yes, you need to eat food. I'm not saying you eat a pill or a capsule or whatever, and you don't have to eat anything. No, it doesn't work that way. If someone tells you it does, it doesn't, because we need that food and we need the macronutrients. But so one of the things, Christina, I shared with you was when you were sharing with me the very first podcast that we had done, and you were sharing with me some of the things from your family. And I'm like, I kind of, in my spirit, I was like, I heard Holy Spirit just kind of nudging me to, share what I've done in my family and what I've seen work with all the women in my community and their families, and what I also know micronutrition does for, because Hippocrates was around 400 BC. And he said, let food be thy medicine, medicine be thy food. And that's what God intended when here on the earth, is that food would be our medicine. And then, of course, now fast forward all these years, man has tampered with our food. It's just not the way it used to be. And it's sad. It's sad that you can't just go to the store. It's sad that you go to the store and the quality is garbage and the prices are absolutely unnecessary. And you can't even you can feed a family cheaper at some of these fast food places than what you could find at a grocery store. And so this is where I've always kind of been a little bit of a rebel. I don't follow what everyone else, the masses, are doing. I follow what Holy Spirit's telling me to do. And I follow what I know in my gut I need to do and what's right for my family. And it's always proven to be the best thing. And here I am now teaching other people. So I wanted to share, kind of a little bit about micronutrition and what we've already kind of talked about, but specifically with the Juice Plus product, which is a whole food product of fruits, vitamins, and berries. And the reason why I want to share this, and I believe that this to be so important, not only for us as adults and parents, but also for the children, is if we can take something that's super affordable, and we're kind of already really spending, and actually even minimize a lot of the supplements that people are taking, and we're not taking bottles and bottles and bottles, and it can actually feed your cells at a cellular level so that your body can get the nutrition that it needs to be able to support the immune system, cardiovascular, digestion, all of these things. Then what happens is you start to feel the changes in your body. And so, Christina, if you're able to, I know it feels like it's been so much longer now, but it's only been almost a month. And even as subtle as it has been, which is kind of really what we want, subtle. If it wasn't subtle, it probably would be kind of what's in there, to question that. But you have shared, just with you adding micronutrition into your body, along with the best you can with your diet, what has changed. That's subtle, but is such a huge change.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So every time I do anything, I feel like it's very subtle. Like, you hear stories about people who get some kind of a new product or they do something and they have wild changes. And I always wonder, I'm like, why is it not something that happens to me? But yes, so things are usually very subtle for me. And it hasn't been not even a month yet, I guess, that we have been doing this and this Juice Plus, and I have my whole family on it. We are doing the kids study, as you had said in the last episode. And I'm even doing it for my husband. Now we're doing it several different reasons. One, I came to you and I told you I was super, super tired all the time. I mean, we do all the things as moms anyways, but at my age and this point in time in my life, I felt like I was just always tired. It would be maybe 4 o'clock every day and I was ready to take a nap. And that is not 100% gone yet, but I'm working on that. I feel better. I am feeling some more sustained energy, but we were also looking at something to boost our immune system because of the times that we're going through now, and being around more people, not wanting to stay in our homes all the time. We have dance, we have school, we do homeschool, but we have a community that we go to, and I just wanted to make sure that our family was healthier, so that if something did happen, our bodies were ready to attack whenever it came on, and we could stay in school more, and just overall be healthier. But I have noticed a couple of subtle things, like my skin feels a little bit clearer. I'm at, like I said, that point in time in my life where I never had any issues with that growing up. But for some reason, after having 4 babies and getting to a certain age, my skin has changed, and hormonal things start coming up, and I feel a little bit less agitation. I was starting to feel a little bit of that, and that just wasn't me. I was told that that was not hormonal, but we'll talk about that in another episode. But I will say I feel a little bit more at ease. So that's very helpful. And, like I said, we have a lot of hats we wear, and I am not immune to that space in motherhood where, I do all the things, and plus have the type A personality like a lot of people. And so stress is inevitable. So, really staying in scripture, staying in the word, making sure I pay attention to what I put into my body, making sure I move. Movement is so important for our bodies, but it's also important for our sanity, at least my sanity. I've known as I've gotten older, making sure we get that extra, bit of sleep, going to bed, maybe even 30 minutes earlier, making sure we drink water all day. I'm even looking to exchange a cup of coffee. I like coffee, several cups a day if possible. And so looking to start by exchanging at least one of those cups of coffee with an additional cup or two of water, just things like that.
Yes. And caffeine from not just coffee, but caffeine from, that's a big one. Let's be honest. That's what a lot of people are eating or drinking, I should say. But caffeine actually makes you dehydrated. Right. So if you have a mug this size of coffee, you need 2 of those mugs of water. And so that's going to be really, really important. So if we are feeling like we need coffee, it's a sign that our nervous system needs to be supported. So I use a lot, or sometimes adaptogens. So as I mentioned to you, when I set you up on the quad there, the trio with the omega, which is a big part of why your skin feels different, is because those omegas that are coming from algae as opposed to fish oil is going to make a huge, huge difference. And so, yeah, if you're feeling like you need coffee, it's definitely, all the things you said are important. However, maybe it's adding some adaptogens, right? Adaptogen or herbs, because this goes alongside with immune system too, but adaptogen herbs help your body adapt with physical, mental, and emotional stress. Mm-hmm. So you could use, there's so many different ones, but even Four Sigmatics is a brand, And I don't like coffee myself, but they do have a coffee that is with mushrooms. So it's medicinal mushrooms, basically. And those mushrooms are great adaptogens. But I usually will say to somebody, I will work on, for example, I have a program that's coming up in the beginning of January, and it's all about jumpstarting your metabolism. And part of your metabolism is looking at what's going on in the nervous system. So if we can balance things out in terms of the natural ways, understanding how we can, what the thyroid is, and how it works, and let's even the basics and the adrenals, and how can we support those organs, those glands, and do so naturally speaking, what will happen is you will actually alkalize your body, all these things, you will actually begin to notice that you don't need as much coffee, right? So it's number one, swapping the coffee for, if it's 2 coffees a day, swap one of them at least with something that's like an herbal coffee. So using Dandy Blend is one, using Dandy Blend with, say, either chocolate complete or vanilla complete, and making, I had a hot chocolate last night. Another brand that I like to use is called It's Bloom, and It's Bloom is Canadian. They're from BC, but I think you can get them in the States. They ship to States. I'm not sure, but if you go on Instagram, It's Bloom, you'll see them there. So I had a mint cacao, and I actually put a half a packet of chocolate complete. We talked about that in another episode. I can't remember which one it was, but it's the protein, whole food protein, and it has plant protein, and it's bioavailable, lots of research on it, and it's great stuff. So I added that, and I whisked it together, and then I put frothed, did I use almond or oat? I think it was oat milk, frothed oat milk, and I put gingerbread spice in it. So I actually when you drank it, it was like you could taste gingerbread, and then you could taste the mint. It was actually really good. So something like that, like making an elixir that's going to be nourishing for your body, and as opposed to always going to the coffee. But we have to ask, why is it that I'm always needing coffee? That's the question we need to ask. Why do I always need coffee? Okay, because one a day, okay, maybe switching to trying matcha, but most people want the coffee either because they like the smell, they like the taste, or it's the feeling that they're getting. And so when we talked about stress in the first episode, and we have that, I talk about, when you drink coffee, you have that elevated, like you're feeling really good, but then you crash. That's what we don't want. We don't want this and then this. Just like when we are, eating constantly throughout the day, insulin rises, drops, insulin rises, drops. We don't want this is not balanced. We want this, right? So if you haven't listened to the first episode, those of you right now, go back to that first one, because we talk about this in that episode, and it's really important for stress, but that's going to be really important. One of the things that I do in my community a whole lot is we focus on balancing the nervous system. It's so important. So if you want a strong immune system, you need to make sure your nervous system is balanced as well. And so that's where, when I work with people, it's like, okay, we're drinking this much coffee. Okay, well, why is this happening? And then we work on trying to shift from that. Yeah.
I really, I find that very interesting. I think I started at some point thinking that I needed coffee all day, every day. I think it's like, I'm tired, so I must need coffee. I need that extra caffeine. But it's very interesting to know that a big part of that, it sounds like, is because of the dehydration that the caffeine causes. Because I know for a fact, without even talking to you, that if I'm dehydrated, I am lethargic and I can't function well. And, as soon as you have a glass of water, for me, sometimes it's a glass of cold water, but I know room temperature is just fine as well. But it just immediately gives me a boost of energy. It's like I wake up. Yeah. And so I find that very interesting. I'm glad that you added that. And then there are a lot of different ways that we can get in that caffeine, a little bit of the caffeine, but also I think you also touched on something else. So you said it might be the smell, it might be the taste. For me,
Yeah.
coffee is an experience.
Yes.
What was it? The Folgers commercial that said, the first part of waking up, or the best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
Yeah, it was in your head. Yeah.
You wake up, you go downstairs, you smell that awesome aroma of coffee. Now I know there are a few people who do not like coffee. I don't understand you, but that's okay. You get to be you, and I get to be me. But see, that aroma of coffee is just so inviting to me, and it's just, how you have some things that make you feel at home. That's one of those things that makes me feel at home, is that coffee first thing in the morning. And then of course I love the taste too. And I know people who don't like the taste of coffee, but it really touches our senses. Yeah, that's right. You don't like coffee, do you? So I'm a tea drinker and a coffee drinker. I don't do sweet tea, but I do like herbal tea.
Me neither.
So, the coffee thing, I guess it can almost be an addiction of sorts, where you feel like you have to do it all the time.
Totally.
And being able to replace it with that hydration, that water, I think is such an important point, knowing that you mentioned that in the last episode that we did when we talked about kids, is we talked about the fact that maybe they're not really hungry, they might be bored, they might be thirsty, that kind of thing. I think this is the same type of thing.
Yes.
Well, maybe you don't really need that coffee. That's not what's going to wake you up. It's the water that's actually going to give you that energy. And it's just that mindset that oh my gosh, I have to have it again, or I really, really wanted that temptation. So
and look at the trigger, right? Remember we talked about triggers for habits. The same thing with a negative habit. What is the trigger that, say at 4:00, a lot of people say 3:00, 4:00, then they want that certain something. There's a trigger that happens at that time. So I don't know what the trigger would be, but it's a trigger, and then it sets you off, and then you're like, okay, I want it now. There's some sort of trigger. So, so we gotta, there's a reason, but drinking that much and needing that's because coffee with the actual caffeine itself is a drug. It's an actual drug. And that's why we get addicted to it. When you're drinking caffeine from matcha, it's a very different thing, because you're not going to get that huge spike. Matcha is very much like this. So it's a consistent, just like when we talked about the Juice Plus, it's consistent for me. Like at 4:00, I don't get that. If I run out of my product, like I actually notice that I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm dragging myself. And if I always say to my husband, if I drank coffee, this would be a day that I want coffee. But that's the other thing I want to say is, if you feel like, oh my gosh, I need coffee to get through, you absolutely 150%, you need to up your nutrients hardcore. So when I have one of those days, for whatever reason it is, because if your immune system is fighting, you're going to probably feel, sometimes your immune system's fighting and you don't know, you haven't caught anything, you're asymptomatic, you don't know, but your immune system is fighting. It doesn't turn into anything. But the thing is that if you are, it's so imperative that you increase, if you're tired, you got to increase your water intake, and you've got to increase your micronutrition. You've got to feed yourself so well, because when you're tired, guess what we crave? We crave carbohydrates, fast food, which is carbohydrates. We crave all the things that we shouldn't be having. So that's where you listen to your body as well and say, okay, I'm really tired today. I know immediately, I know what that's going to do. It's going to set me off on a roller coaster downhill. And that's not what I want, because I'm going to be going through the drive-through. I'm going to be getting the chocolate bar, all of these things. So very important. Yeah. Right. Same with your kids. Exact same thing.
And I think that comes with our ability to know who we are, what we do, our tendencies to do things in certain situations, and our planning. So we observe what, we know our bodies better than anybody. We know our responses to different situations. If we're going out and we have a long drive one day, we need to make sure we have healthy snacks on hand. If we have a long day at work, maybe we drink a little extra water. Whatever it is, maybe we don't have the food in the pantry, instead of ordering out, we make sure that we prepare meals ahead of time, that kind of thing.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
Anyways, I think that that's a good idea, and then there are other things where we talk about, there are certain times where, women feel less than themselves. We all know we go through that, and, different hormonal changes, whether it would be from pregnancy or whatever. So feeding our bodies and our minds are also very important. So
yes. Amen.
I'm so excited that you have joined me for these 3 talks, and I'm hoping that in the future that we get to talk about this some more, maybe revisit how things are working, changes that are happening, all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
Do you have any other, I don't know, say advice, encouragement to people who are feeling like they're really kind of off balance, and they really want to jumpstart their way? And we talked about that in the first one too, not necessarily jumping all in 100% to where you burn out, but just starting off. And do you have any other encouragement for people who are just ready to start?
I do have a quote. I don't know who said this, but it's perfect. And that quote goes like this. So actually, if you're listening right now, just close your eyes, because I want you to really take it in. So when you have your health, you have 1,000 dreams. When you don't, you only have one. So I believe one of the other things that I do is I really support women in becoming their best self, grow in their leadership, and grow into who God is really wanting us to be. The Esthers, like I love Esther, and I always refer back to her, really becoming the Esthers in our life. And because the fact is that when you are making a decision to do something hard, and it could be around your health, whatever it is, we're talking about health here. Remember that it's not just about you, it's about who you are inspiring that you don't even realize you're inspiring. It's never about us. It's about someone else. So if I'm nervous I don't really get nervous anymore, but before, say like lives or speaking or any of that, I never liked any of that kind of stuff. Put me on a platform, I'm like, absolutely not. And then I remember someone saying that it's not about you. If you're worried about something about you, about why you're scared, why you can't do this, why you can't keep going, whatever it is, it's not about you. It's about who can God use to touch somebody else, that you, and just something you're doing that you think is not a big deal. How is that actually changing someone else's life? So the next time you feel like it's not good enough, or you feel like, oh, I can't do this, or I can't keep going, or whatever it is, just again, when it's not about us, right? Because God didn't send Jesus to the cross because it was about him. It was because of, if he didn't, what would happen to us, right? So it was about, he was thinking about us. He was thinking about you and I. And so if we can go back to remembering it's not about us, just like when we're sharing Jesus with other people, I remember it's not about me. It's about, what does God want me to do in terms of sharing his gospel? It's the exact same thing with us. So, and then just in thinking of that, it's important to be part of that community and know what you're, learning what you need to do, the basics, and just putting one foot in front of the other. Really, really important.
Definitely.
So that's
definitely working on yourself so that you can help others work on themselves as well, and being good influence for your family and all that kind of stuff. Fantastic. So if you want to find out more, how can they do that?
So on social media, so if you're on Instagram, it's Kristen Owens Wellness, and it's Kristen TEN, and Facebook, same thing. And my Facebook group is Restoring Metabolism for Women Over 40. And I could probably throw email. You can probably throw the email in the show notes, Kristen Owens Coaching, and those would be the best ways.
Sounds fantastic, Kristen. I really appreciate you joining me for all of this. I also have something going on, the morning movement, mindset, and the word. We're doing this for 90 days. if you have not already joined, please join us for that. Just trying to keep you guys motivated so that you want to move and you want to learn more about Jesus. So I can't think of two better things other than taking care of our health and learning about God. So we thank you for being here, listening to this. Reach out to us if you are interested in working on your health. If you have any other questions, we'd love to know if you have any other topics that you want us to talk about. Continue to be blessed and bless others, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, Kristen. And I want to thank you for joining us on Faith Breathed Hope, where you gain inspiration and motivation to renew hope and discover purpose in any circumstance. Please like and share this podcast and give us a review on iTunes. Be blessed.